What's up, y'all? So we just watched Pig from 2021 starring Nicolas Cage, and it was a movie.
It was indeed a movie.
We're just gonna go into sports. If you haven't seen the movie, just go watch it. So we're gonna do like a very, very brief synopsis, and then we'll get into what we like, didn't like, things of that nature.
So this movie is about a man who loses his pig. He lives like on the outskirts in the woods, if you will, and he owns a pig. And he seems to like collect truffles and sells them off. This young guy who does whatever he does. Apparently he must sell them to restaurants, whatever. The young guy doesn't know who he is. This guy that lives in the woods. One night his pig gets taken from him. They break in, knock him over the head, and they take his little pig. And you think at first that the pig is basically how he finds the truffles or whatever. And that's why they took the pig. So the movie is basically him dragging this young guy along with him to find this pig. And we find out that I don't know if he's world renowned, but he's a very well-known celebrity chef. And he seems to have isolated himself after he, experienced the tragedy, the loss of his wife. That seems to have been what made him go off into isolation. And this young guy throughout the day is learning just who he is, how well known he is.
Oh, okay. So, like I said, I went to this movie blind. I did watch like a review of it where they didn't really explain anything, but it says like just go watch it for yourself. It's like reverse John Wick, I guess. Like, just a man lonely in the woods, then he, steal his pig, and he just goes on his search. And I'm just waiting for him to bust somebody's head. And I guess that just shows how American I am at the end of the day. But he doesn't. Like at most, he like ends up getting his tail whaled on, right, just to find this pig. You could tell it's a movie about self-discovery, grief, loss, and I guess kind of like finding yourself again. Obviously, Nicolas Cage is playing a character named Robin, who's, like you said, some just at least renowned chef in like Portland, Oregon. Everybody knows this guy's name. I guess after the loss of his wife, he just retreated into the forest just to live, away from people. Which makes sense because, some people they lose loved ones, it shatters them, and they never the same again because they don't want to face the grief and sadness. And Amir, same thing with his mom. His mom ended up, I think, trying to take her life and ended up on a ventilator. So he's suffering too and trying to make his dad happy. It was definitely a journey, right? It wasn't a journey I was thinking I was going to go on, but it definitely was a journey. Him searching the city, finding this one guy, going into this like underground, which I thought at first was like a fight club. That was interesting. Everybody just knew this guy. Like when he dropped his name, they were just like shocked. Like his food would be so good. Like just hearing his name makes people shook. The way he was at that one restaurant, he was trying to find his pig, and he just like asked for the chef. The guy sat down, and he looked him directly in the eyes, and the guy like knew who he was, and me like sat down like at the table, like this guy was royalty. Like to get him to tell him what he needed, he just like read this guy, and you hear like this like slow bass like sound like slowly ramping up in the background and stuff. I don't know, for a lack of a better term, defeated the bad guy at the end. It was crazy, and I called it that he was gonna cook a dish so good that this dude was gonna cry. And that's exactly what he did. And it was funny as shit. I don't know how I do it, but I like read these movies sometimes and I expect something different from the movie. And it did the thing I most of the time praise movies for is subverted my expectation. Yes, it always does. And if you can do that, I gotta give you at least a point on that.
I'm not really a huge fan of quiet movies.
Last quiet movie we watched, people got stoned at the end. So
using his grief parallel to the boy's grief, and how the boy learned a lot through being around him because he didn't know who he was, and you just knew he's a crazy looking guy in the woods that he gets truffles from. To find out like this guy, master chef. He even got to cook a meal with him to serve to his dad. But also like knowing who his father was, like what his father did. Big moment for him because even at the end, he like just sits in his car and cries after he find out what happened to the pig. And I think that was just him realizing like who his dad is. And so in a way he was grieving his mom. And also his dad, Cage's character, is talking to the dad. Obviously has no confidence in his son. He's like, look, I'm gonna, try and get him a nice little cushy job because he ain't gonna be able to make it. Like I basically say he ain't got the dog in him. He ain't got it in him. He can't make it. Probably felt that from his dad probably his entire life, even though he's like walking around with this crazy guy. He's learning so much in that time that he was with him that he got somewhat of a father experience, even though that wasn't his dad. So I thought that was cool. The kid collecting these truffles, he makes a mistake to tell his father, who apparently is a rich, one of these rich freaks, that he tells his father that this is the person he gets the truffles from. And his pops is like, how hungry is this to say? Because when Nicolas Cage, asked him about his pig, he's like, you in my world pretty much. And he offers him money. And he's like, look, if you even come looking for that pig again, make the pig into bacon and we could just get another pig. And I'm like, well, shit, if you could get another pig, pig. Why'd you take his pig? You know what I mean? They're like, all right, that was kind of shitty. But you find out why he probably was making that deal. Not because he didn't want Nicolas Cage looking for this pig. It's because the pig died. Pig ends up not making it. And so Nicolas Cage, that after they've been searching the whole day or whatever, he finds out that it's the kid's dad that took the pig. And the kid's like, look, I didn't know that he would do this, and I'm sorry, that I told him it was you. So he goes, and the father's like, get out of here, whatever. He gives him that sort of ultimatum. So then he decides to make a meal because again, he's a master chef, so he decides to make a meal.
After the weird underground chef fight club thing, he takes Robin, Nicolas Cage's character, back to the house, lets him sleep. He made him like some French toast in the morning or something like that, and he like went to the story of how the last time he saw his parents happy together was when they came from a restaurant, and it was so good, and the food was great, and it was a little drunk, and they was talking about the chef all day. And that's the last time he saw her. After that, later on, his mother would try to offer herself. When he cooks the meal, a pheasant, the guy eats it. Like I said, I called it out. He cries because that was the same exact meal that he had cooked them the night that they were happy, because that was obviously his restaurant. And he told him, I remember every dish that I cook, and for every customer I've cooked it for us. That was how they defeated the big bad. That's when he like broke down and cried, and then he told him,
crackheads killed your pig.
Yeah, these junkies I paid to get them killed. And and if you think about it, that's the crazy part, because that's why he was acting like trying to give him this big dog tough shit, scare him away. It had nothing to do with trying to scare this guy. He just like, well, I fucked up. He's like, okay, what do you want, 20,000?
Hit him up because he didn't want to have to admit to him that the pig was gone.
Yeah, and so he tried to bribe him. He's like, look, you're in my world. Keep messing around. I'm gonna chop the pig up. I'm gonna send $20K to your encampment there. And that's when we were saying like, why didn't you do that first? You at least could hit him on the head and just leave, or whatever you did, just leave the pile of money there for him. You didn't even do that. You just stole his pig. So. That didn't click at first when we was thinking about that, but then you find out later, yeah, that's why he was so broke up after.
Yo, he really broke down in tears. I was like, yo, you caused it. I did not see that coming at all. Like, he broke down. He ends up leaving after he breaks down and cries, after he finds out that his pig is no longer with us. They go to like some diner, and after they get out the diner, he's like, I'm just gonna walk. And he decides to walk. During his walk, he finally touches some water and puts it on the dry blood that has been drying there for the last few days.
Is that he played that cassette tape that his wife made singing, which in the beginning, he started to play it, but then he turned it off. So it showed that he was ready to listen to her voice again.
Because sometimes the people are grieving, they hold on to something. And so clearly the pig was a representation of like something he held on to maybe avoid his grief. So losing the pig and going through this experience where he had to like cook for someone. What happened to his pig was heartbreaking for him. I think he was forced to tap into something that he loved doing, obviously, which is cooking for people. So it's like, obviously that is something that he loves to do. And even under the circumstances helped him. Next stage of grief, and I guess he can, accept reality or move on.
Forged a bond with the kid now. So now that you never know, that might be the next step of him like getting out. Maybe he'll start cooking little dishes and giving him stuff when he comes by.
It was a good movie. It was a good movie. It was a quiet movie. At the end of it was when I was like, you said it, and I was right about to say it too. Like, okay, this is the movie of grief and what that looks like, using a pig as the sort of thing to bring him out of it.
Well, like I said, I like John Wick. I mean, let's just be honest. John Wick was about the same thing, right? Grief. His wife is passed, and he got a dog. Someone killed a dog, stole his prized possession car. One man is a chef, and he's stoic, and he dealt with the looks and the hits and everything he had to deal with until it was time to cook, and he defeated the enemy with cooking. That's John Wick. Defeated the enemies with bullets. Did it with their chosen professions. I shouldn't expect a guy who was a chef to be like kicking people's teeth in and putting.
I thought he was gonna at least put one of them pheasant bones in that guy's neck. It really is a parallel, story in a way.
A lot of people like to clown on Nicolas Cage because he likes to be outrageous when he does his movies. Like he has like a lot of crazy parts. His acting was on point in this movie. Even if he didn't sing it, the facial expressions, all that, he was great, man. The way he just like fell down when that dude told him his pig died, like you're like, damn.
Like, Nicolas Cage and Keanu Reeves are both, they're really great when they don't have to say much.
Nicolas Cage is insane. Like, not in a bad way. Like, he's crazy in all the best ways. But like, if you let him do whatever he wants, he acts nuts. If you don't mind slow burn movies, that can be a little anticlimactic, but not in a bad way. If you like slow burn movies, it's probably for you. And also, if you like movies having to do with like restaurant stuff, like cooks and restaurants, it's fascinating. But if you're looking for like crazy action, is probably not for you. Would I recommend watching it? Yes, I would give it a recommend. I would recommend you guys check it out. But like I said, only if you're into like kind of slow burn, more quiet atmosphere type movies, I guess you could. These type of movies aren't for everybody, you know what I'm saying?
It's not incredibly cerebral either. It's not a lot going on, but not in a bad way.
You ain't got nothing to watch on Netflix? Check it out. You could always watch, Tyler Perry, Straw. We'll see you in the next one.
Later.
Don't let people steal your pig if they're junkies, I guess. I don't know.